the Japanese in English HUH.
Yeah.
That's like
Like, huh?
yeah, like a question, right? Like
Yeah.
what do you mean, kind of huh?
Yeah.
But in Japan, ha it still mean same. Like it means like what do you mean, but in a very very aggressive way.
Excuse me, Masen.
Welcome to another episode of the Excuse Me, Miss N podcast. I am your host, Saul, and joining me today is Kato, aka at Nomad Push, once again on YouTube. How's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, bro?
Anything new you'd like to share with the masses?
I am almost finished with this, almost like a second chapter of my journey, I guess. I don't think I told you this yet, but I'm gonna go to Tokyo, but after Tokyo I gotta go all the way to Kagoshima, which is the very south of Japan, mainland.
Okay.
One of my members, he
Mm.
he said, I'll give you those small moped, like a
A
moped
moped?
style. He kind of like customized that word, yeah, customized to 3 wheel. Yeah, he said
Yeah.
he's gonna give me that for free.
Holy cow. Nice. All right. So let's get into it. Let's start off with news. On July 3rd, Japan is going to release new greenbacks or banknotes, as they call them. The 10,000 yen, which used to be the equivalent of $100, the 5,000 yen, and the 1,000 yen. My hope is that these ones don't tear as easily and they are resistant to water because the money right now, like if it gets wet, tears so easily. Okay, so let's get straight into it. So today we're talking about facts about Japan that most foreigners don't know. And this can include even foreigners who've been living here for, I mean, maybe up to like a year or two. Yeah, so number one is dealing with cable TV and NHK. So Japanese TV does not have many channels. It's like, do you know exactly how many channels it is?
Maybe like 12 or 13, I think.
Yeah, right. It's nothing like you would think of in the US. But then again,
Hmm.
like even in the States, like most people, hopefully, right? Most people are like, forget cable TV. You know, nowadays we have like Netflix and stuff like that. So you can watch
Hmm.
what you want when you want versus having to wait all the time. And for people thinking of moving to Japan, just real quick, yes, cable TV in Japan is free, but you're gonna have to have this like card that you stick into your TV that will somehow magically connect to the channels. I don't know if it's like all the channels. I don't even know how it works. I just know that if the card is not in the TV, my TV didn't work. Sometimes the TV already comes with the card inside. Like in most cases, the TV that you buy will have a card. I've already bought a few and all of them had the card inside the box. Regarding NHK in Japan is kind of like a mix of the History Channel and the Discovery Channel and CNN all into one.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
So it kind of depends on like the time of the day and stuff. The reason why I'm talking about this is because after you move to Japan, you will most likely have some guy or some person knock on your door and then demand that you pay the monthly fee. So you're getting the channel already, but they're going to demand that you pay for it. And it's up to you if you want to be nice and say, I don't even speak Japanese. I'm not going to watch that channel and then still watch it. But like in my family's case, you know, our kids watch it every morning. So we were like, okay, but it is not cheap and it's weird. It's like, it's almost outrageous. Like it's like 3,000 something yen per month. So you're paying like double the price of a family plan of Netflix to watch one channel that you cannot control anything.
Yeah, NHK, yeah, so much problem. So there's a party name. I don't know if this is same in US, but in Japan you can name your party too,
Yeah.
and there's this one party called if I don't know, I might be a little bit wrong, but it's something like let's destroy NHK party,
Holy
and
cow.
and this guy got really popular and he does YouTube too. He does social media, so he gets a lot of following and a lot of people feel the same, right?
Yeah.
A lot of Japanese people hate NHK just for that demanding. A lot of people don't hate the actual TV show.
Yeah.
Everybody agree that they do good TV show,
Yeah.
but just the way they get their money is so
Yeah.
like unreasonable, and it's
Yeah.
stupid, especially nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Because nowadays is everything is on demand kind of thing,
Yeah.
and yeah, and it's just it doesn't make sense. So that guy, yeah, he and another interesting thing about the leader of that party is he used to work at NHK, so he knows the inside stuff.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and he got really popular. Like how long was it? Maybe 5 year ago, he was like crazy popular in YouTube. Like he'll call the NHK, go crazy, like talking. He'll get random people who wants help when the
Yeah.
NHK come to their house, and he literally go to the house and help them, like beat those people who try to demand the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he got
Wow.
yeah. So the yeah, even Japanese people really there's a lot of people who hate NHK just for that.
I think that just this is just my theory, okay? I think that just that part, the bad part, that part is a victim of Japan as an aging society. That's my guess. I think that's the most expensive subscription I have. More expensive than like Apple One, which I'm also subscribed to. And that one's only like what, like 2,000 yen or something like that? All right, so the next one we're talking about, when you come to Japan, you're gonna notice that carbohydrates is the main macronutrient that you're gonna get in like everything that you buy. So having like a good balance to where you get more or at least a large amount of protein in the ratio to the food that you get is pretty hard to find. But if you go to Sushiro, which is those revolving sushi chain restaurant, it is a revolving sushi chain restaurant. They have this mini sushi menu where a mini rice sushi menu where it's just like a small ball of rice instead of like the full serving. I think it's like half actually. And then the fish is still the same size as the regular one. So if you want to get more protein and less carbs, please visit Sushiro.
Yeah, that's so true that this carbohydrate, I mean, rice is everything in Japan, right?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
yeah, it's been in this country's history for a long time, and they even used to, I mean, it used to be money too, right? For like the generals, they show the power by the amount of rice you get, like that kind of
Wow.
level. And then the interesting part, right? I always like this part where when you say you want to go eat is gohan taberu, and that's
Yeah.
gohan means rice,
Yeah.
but they even mean eating too,
Yeah.
right?
Eating in general.
So that's how much like the word gohan is, the rice is like so big in Japanese culture.
Wow. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, it's a carbohydrate country.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get to number four. Um, Number four is similarly to the way that a guy will come to your house for NHK. There are people who will stop by your door trying to sell you newspaper subscriptions. They're so desperate, they will even offer to give you free stuff. So, like the first time they came to me, I said, I don't speak Japanese. And the guy looked at me and he was just like, daijoubu desu. And then he walked away. And then another guy came back like a week later and my wife answered the door. And then again, she accepted the subscription and he gave us a case of beer, 24 cans of Sapporo Ichiban, not Sapporo Ichiban, that's the ramen. Sapporo Kuro Raberu Black Label beer. And then after we ended it, like a month later, another person came and my wife answered the door, that one. And then we accepted the subscription again. And then they brought us like a 50-pound bag of rice for the second one. And then after a few months, because we have to promise like a 3-month subscription in order to get the free thing. So we paid for the 3 months. And then as soon as that was done, we ended our subscription. After that, they came back and then we just told them, you know what, don't come back here. We don't read the newspaper. Yeah, they just never came back after that.
I just want to check. I guess the benefit is paying whatever like 3 month subscription, right?
I think so, yeah, because one case of beer, that specific beer is like 5,000 yen. And a 3-month subscription to the newspaper, I think, is something like 3,000 yen or something like that. So you win. Okay, so let's get to number five. So pretty much everybody knows that when you eat at a ramen shop, it's perfectly normal to slurp. And in fact, it shows respect to the artisan or the person making the ramen it also lets everyone know that it's really delicious, or at least that you think it's really delicious. But I think not everybody knows, and actually I learned this kind of the hard way, is that it depends on the situation. So ramen, yes, but not every situation that noodles get in front of you should you do that. I just want to specify that this is not a written rule. This is just something that people kind of can sense around them.
I'm so sure that will happen depending on situation.
Okay.
And I was thinking like soba is still maybe slurping for English, but I don't know if I can do it. But there's a different slurping in soba,
Yeah.
to show the respect, and but I still don't know how to do it. It's almost like you something like you drink it, like instead of biting it. It's like with the soba.
Okay. So getting into number 6, we have sorting garbage. Everyone in Japan knows that you have to separate your trash because recycling is like a big thing here. One thing that I learned kind of in a funny way was that I had no idea that people actually wash their trash before they throw it away. I'm not talking about everything. I'm talking about like stuff that has styrofoam, cans, plastic, and glass bottles. I noticed like people wash those. Yeah, so I actually have a story about this. And so you and I used to live together in Tokyo at a share house. And then within the first few days of living there, when I got the kind of like the tour from you, you explained to me like this trash has to go in this trash can, this type of trash has to go in this trash can, and this type of trash has to go in this trash can. And then you gotta wash it before you gotta wash this type or this type before you put it in the can. For me, when somebody says wash it, I think it means with soap. so so like I remember I had this styrofoam bottom piece, like when you buy meat, it's like on a styrofoam thing and then there's saran wrap around it. And I was like, this thing smells kind of funky. I think I'll wash it. So I put it in the sink and I started washing it with soap. You asked me why was I washing it with soap, and I was just like, because you told me to wash it. So I was washing it good. And then yeah.
Yeah. Like my impression was like I saw Solomon's personality kind of thing, like your perfection personality, like just washing it perfectly will have no room for people getting mad at you kind of thing,
Yeah.
that's how I saw it. Like that's how
Yeah.
that was the impression, and that's definitely correct, right? There's nobody gonna get mad at you using the soap and washing it. But it was
Unle-
just overkilling, overpower. So it was like
yeah.
it was still funny. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, it is very complicated. As you guys know, I'm traveling around Japan, and every area is different. Some places you don't really separate. Some places you
Oh, really?
separate so like super a lot. Yeah, some places are like that, and like we were talking about reading the air. I want to read that house rule. Like some guys are kind of careless, and it's like, hey, go ahead and just throw everything in that one thing. And maybe
Yeah.
it's not right, but I don't. I'm a person who's
You're a guest.
they're letting me stay. I'm the guest, so I cannot be rude to whatever he's doing. So I'll just follow. So not only the area rule, but some even the house rule. Like each house has their own like rule. So there's like a little moment whenever you throw trash. Like it's like if this was in Saipan, right? If I have trash, I just go to your kitchen, and if I see trash, then I don't have to think and just throw it, right? But
Yeah.
in Japan, every time I'm staying at somebody's house, I gotta pause and I gotta look at the house owner and say, what should I do with this? I always gotta ask this question.
Right.
Where should I throw this one? This question is all
Yeah.
the time, like, and I'm kinda getting tired of it, but I have to do that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then just to clarify for the people who are wondering, like, or they can't figure out for themselves why, it's because, of course, to prevent smells and to deter pests like roaches. And then also, like in Tokyo, for example, you throw your trash outside, like next to a tree or something like that. Some places don't have any kind of protection for the bag. And if there's all kinds of funk in your trash, the crows will tear up the bags. So like making sure that your stuff is clean will just deter different kinds of pests from attacking the trash. Okay, so the next one we have is basically the noise in apartments. They're pretty strict with noise in Japan, at least in Tokyo. I cannot speak for everywhere in Japan, but from my experience, especially like here in this place where I live right now, you can't do noisy stuff at night. It's pretty common sense, I would assume, in like in the States, for example, but it's way more lax in the States. In Japan, it's really, really strict. I mean, if you make noise for like a good 5 minutes and you have the wrong neighbors, like I said, as it would be the same as in the States, but in Japan, it's like everybody understands the same rules, right? And so like somebody will call somebody to get on your case. So yeah, you would save your noisy stuff for the daytime. Like if you're gonna build a bed that you got from IKEA, do it in the daytime. But if you have something that you're gonna do that takes a few days, like you're doing a DIY on your kitchen counter or something like that, tell the people downstairs at the front desk so that they can make like some kind of announcement for the people living around you so that you don't make anybody claim something against you.
Yeah, like as you said, it's a lot of it is same in the whole world. I think, right? I believe like the sound, even reading the air, right? Reading the vibe or whatever, is still the same in everywhere. I feel like, but I just want to say Japan is like extreme in all those stuff. Like, yeah,
The degree is crazy.
yeah, the degree is crazy. So yeah, the sound too, right? It's just crazy. And I was working in those share house company for like long time, like maybe like 5 years, and I was living in a share house too for a long time. And I can even tell from the in the everyday life too, right? Like from closing your door
Mhm.
softly,
Yeah,
and then not dragging your feet when
when you
you're
walk,
walking,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, especially with those slippers, it makes more sound.
Yeah.
And of course, using the kitchen in nighttime, using the shower room in nighttime, using the laundry in nighttime is prohibited in those kind of places. And I can tell the difference culture because I'll have every once in a while I'll have foreign tenant too, and then
Yeah.
I can feel that's where I can feel the culture difference, right? They don't.
Yeah.
I'll hear like door just slamming, or he or she thinks it's okay as long as he's in the room. He'll make the music super loud even in like midnight or something.
Wow.
He's like he's like, who cares? I'm in my room. I'll do whatever I want to do in my room. And maybe in his culture it's okay, but in
Yeah.
Japan we can still hear that. And so, some foreigner never understood that kind of culture, and then some people
Yeah.
just leave. But there are, of course, foreigner who can adapt those kind of stuff real quick, and they can blend in. But yeah, that's definitely something you should have in mind when you want to
Mhm.
come to Japan.
Yeah, and speaking of like how extreme they can get, number 8 is about mosquito tickers. So like for anybody listening, like you can hear them in the street in random places, you can hear them in front of people's houses if they go to that degree, and you can hear them even in the train station sometimes. You'll hear like a ticking noise. If you can hear it, it means your hearing is still really young. But if you cannot hear it, just ignore what I'm saying. But you'll hear a ticking noise, and if it annoys you, then you are that target demographic that they're trying to target this mosquito ticker to, because the mosquito ticker sound is so high frequency that basically people over 35 won't hear this noise, and those people don't tend to loiter. But this is targeted towards people who like to loiter. So those tend to be like teenagers and people in their early 20s where they just stand in some random corner and cause problems, right? So they put this mosquito ticker somewhere, and then that noise, that high pitched noise will annoy you so much that you just want to leave. And I think it's so effective. And yeah, sometimes it's too effective. But there was one thing that I noticed that I feel like most foreigners probably don't know about. Like, what is that noise? They didn't put that there because they don't want mosquitoes like in the street. It's because they don't want you in the street. The next one we have is nodding. I don't know about every place in the US, but like at least in Saipan, when you see a friend, you like nod with your head going upwards, right? I noticed here in Japan, if you do that, it's kind of intimidating to some people. Because like I did that one time when some guy like was eyeing me. I think it was in Osaka. I went like this, like not in a like a challenging way, more like a hey, what's up? I noticed you're looking at me. Hey, what's up? Like hello. And then he kind of like looked afraid and he turned away and like walked away. And I was like, but yeah. So after living here, I noticed that people they nod downward and not quickly. They nod downward, almost like a bow, but it's like a super low angled bow, just like a real quick. Is that correct? Saying it's like a really, really minor bow? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a different type of bowing, I guess. Like a nodding, as in like understood kind of nod,
yeah, yeah,
and then or a nod that's like you're like excuse me kind of nod. So like one can be like I understand nod,
yeah.
and the excuse me is like your neck kind of sticking out. It's like this is like a excuse me nod.
It's like learning a new
And
language right there.
I know, right? And then and then I think the one you're talking about in Japan is called eshaku, and this word called eshaku is like it's like a little bow, right? So
Mhm.
not understood kind of bow, but like a just a little bow, and that is called eshaku.
Yeah,
And it's actually polite, very
yeah,
polite. Yeah, we don't nod upward for sure. And then another thing is the ha, the Japanese in English HUH.
yeah.
That's like
Like, huh?
yeah, like a question, right? Like
Yeah,
what do you mean, kind of huh?
yeah.
But in Japan, ha it still mean same. Like it means like what do you mean, but in a very very aggressive way.
Yeah, I think this is a very important point to keep. I forgot to mention that one. Yes, ha, yeah. When I was 17, I was taking Japanese level 3 in high school. And then our Japanese teacher brought us to Tokyo. I think it was a Denny's actually. We went to Denny's and then the waitress, she's kind of like asking us in Japanese like how many people are you with? And my Japanese teacher was like you handle this one. And then, so he pointed to me, and then I couldn't hear what she said. So I was like, huh? And then she looked like her face turned white when I said that. And I was like, oh, did I say something wrong? And I looked at the teacher and he just started laughing. And I was like, what did I do? What did I do? And he goes, no, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. So he starts talking to them. And then the manager comes out and starts talking to the teacher. And I was like, oh man, I feel like something's really wrong. And I was asking my classmates, they're like, yeah, dude, why did the manager come out just because you said, huh? Like, what's going on? So we went, we sat down, we ordered our food. I ordered um, this food called Hayashi rice. And Hayashi rice, like for me, I didn't like it. It was like a kind of like a almost like a smoky stew kind of flavor. And I didn't like it, so I didn't finish it. And I guess the staff, they were kind of scared of me already, so they kept staring at me and they noticed that I didn't eat my food. And then one of my friends finished my food for me. And then when it was time to go, the waitress came to me and bowed very low. And then in really proper Japanese said, I'm so very sorry for like causing you problem. And I was like, I looked at my teacher again and I was like, what's going on? I'm really confused right now. And then he just started laughing again. He didn't explain to me what was happening. And then after we walked out, then he explained the reason why she was so scared of you is because you said huh to her. And I was like, what's wrong with saying huh? And then he explained what you said, where in Japan, it's incredibly aggressive to say ha to somebody. But I noticed like here, when they're doing it aggressively, it's more like huh? Like it's like a little bit longer. It's like not like a quick like huh? Like, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like English, right? Like I remember that commercial, like the word dude. If you say the word dude in a
Yeah.
different tone, it
Yeah.
means different.
Yeah.
So even in Japanese we have that. Like if you have a different tone, you'll have a little slight different meaning. But yeah, still.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you are in Japan, it's better off you don't say that word at all, especially if you're a foreigner. Yeah.
So getting to number 9. Oh, no, no, no. Getting to the last one, unwritten escalator rules. So if you live in Tokyo, you know that everybody kind of leans to the left side. They make like a lane on the left. They make a free lane on the right, and everybody lines up on the left, right? And the reason why is so that people who are in a hurry can run past you. And then if you live in Osaka, it's the opposite. Everybody lines up on the right and they leave an open lane on the left so that people in a hurry can get past you. But I noticed that there's actually signs on the escalator that say, do not line up on one side of the escalator because you're gonna jeopardize the structural integrity of the escalator. You're gonna risk breaking it if you do that. So then it says, like, if you're with a child, put the child to your side, as in take up the entire lane. Do you have any comments on that? Like should I just, or should everyone just stay on the left and continue following these unwritten rules, or should we respect what the sign on the escalator says?
So my opinion is because that written rule is not spread around because that's like it's my first time hearing that.
Oh, okay.
So so that means I think, or at least me, right?
Yeah.
I don't really pay attention to whatever is written at the escalator
Yeah.
because I feel like I know how to ride the escalator already, kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
like, yeah. And I don't think it's spread around enough to Japanese people. So I feel like you're gonna maybe you're gonna feel bad in some point. Maybe some old guy
Yeah.
or something might
Yeah.
scream at you, or and you might feel bad of like not following the rule or something like that. So
Okay.
yeah, I feel like it's the job of the train station or the whole society to tell the whole people that
Yeah.
stop doing that. But I think it's hard because especially Tokyo and Osaka is the top big cities, and there's a lot of people who want to move fast because
Yeah.
they're working or they're going to work, or they're late. They can't skip one train or something. They want to run through the escalator. So
Yeah.
so I'm so sure, and Japanese is always about thinking about other person. So I think Japanese will still line up in the side, even though
Yeah.
that rule is written, because
Yeah.
there are always those people who's like trying to move fast,
Yeah.
and yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
kind of hard in Japan.
So I was looking at the escalator and I was reading the sign and I was like asking my wife, like, what does this say? Because I can't read that kanji. And she said, oh yeah, you shouldn't stand to one side. Make sure you take up the entire lane if there's more than one of you. And I was like, really? But everybody stands to one side anyways. And she goes, yeah, people don't really pay attention to it. And then the train station people don't enforce it because there's just so many people, especially in the morning, that are in a hurry, and in the afternoon too. And you just imagine, like, I mean, I think everybody who's researched Tokyo knows that they have that time in the morning where the train is so packed that they have these train pushers, I guess is what they're called, where they just push everybody in, kind of like they're trying to stuff cotton into like a stuffed bear or something like that. It's crazy.
Maybe I can add one thing that's maybe from my view of life right now is because I'm traveling everywhere right now, and I feel like foreigner don't know because I didn't really know
Mhm.
is that every countryside has like super strong dialect. Is
Dialect?
that the word?
Yeah.
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 So Osaka, everybody, I mean, maybe most foreigners know, right? Because it's
Yeah.
popular. Osaka have their own word too, own dialect, but it's
Yeah.
already popular enough where you kind of understand. But if you go to the northern Japan, that part is not popular, and you don't see those people in TV shows too a lot. So when you come here, so it always surprised me, and I just find it funny because I'm in Japan the whole time, and when these guys talk between friends, especially when they talk in not polite Japanese, more like a friend talk.
Yeah.
Holy cow, you don't know. I mean, even me, even a native speaker, like I'm almost 0%. Maybe every once in a while there's a word I understand, but most of it I don't understand. It's just so funny listening to it. I enjoy just listening to it. But
Yeah.
whenever old guy or old woman talks to me, I always get nervous because those
Yeah.
guys, they don't change their dialect. They'll just talk super with their dialect, and I get nervous because I don't wanna disrespect by asking same question. Can you say that again? Can you say
Yeah.
that again, please, one more time? And I'm so sure they're gonna get disappointed, or they just say never mind like that. You gotta be at least, I think, your level to see to distinguish the difference, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're a foreigner that doesn't know Japanese too much, then maybe you cannot tell.
Yeah.
But I'm so sure your level, you will know. Like, you're like, holy cow, I don't know what they're saying for sure. ロビンさん、今日はどこに行くんですか? This is maybe regular Japanese. But if it's 青森, ロビンさん、今日はどこに行くんですか? Like this. Like, it goes from
Oh,
like down
yeah.
and then upward and then down, something like that.
Yeah, like the
So
intonation is
yeah,
different.
yeah, intonation is way different. And it just, if they're talking within their friends, it's just so funny.
Yeah. I would say like Tokyo's Japanese is like America's Californian English. Osaka's Japanese is like New York's English. And then all the other places that you're talking about that have like the really thick dialects,
Mhm.
I would say is like living in the South in the United States.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just like, for example, in Tokyo, we say something dakara. Yeah, I know you use that word dakara, right? Like, so that's why dakara. But in Aomori, it's dahande. So
Whoa.
different, right? And right,
The Hun.
right. And
Sounds like
it's
a
so
different
funny.
language. The Hun.
I know, right? Yeah, so dahande. They use this so much. Dahande, hande, dahande. Yeah, so. And it goes back into their history, right? I don't know if it's same in the U.S., but in Japan, they're having war between prefecture and those time you don't have social media, so you got spies, going into the other countries, and then the way they know that if you're part of them is by the dialect. So if you cannot speak perfect dialect, then they're like, "Hey, you're not from here," like you're spy, like that. So
Oh.
that's their one main reason they have their own dialect. So even Aomori and Akita is right next to each other, but they have very different sound. There's similar words too, but the intonation is different and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's how they check if you're not spy or you're
Wow.
part of us, like that. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it
So
goes
it goes back into the
way
history.
back.
Yeah, it goes way back.
That's it for today's episode. If you have any questions or any stories you'd like us to share, please let us know. And until next time, excuse me, Masen, and see ya.